I hear you have trouble with your pipes.
Yes, you need an apron.
Ah, I did, yes. Oh, you need an apron. Oh, well then, can I buy an apron?
You can.
See how much I've watched to get the action right. Which one should I have, girls?
That one.
This one.
The bright one. Hey, the director said the bright one, so, you know.
Right, you've got to...
You've done this before, haven't you? Christina, isn't it? Katerina.
Katerina.
Katerina. Yeah. Katerina.
She's
Okay.
a fashion designer.
You see, they fit all sizes.
Yeah.
One size fits all.
One size fits all. Then.
Oh, it does fit. Oh, that's a nice one.
And just remember, if you buy one of these, the bookery gets 20%.
How much is it?
They're $29.99.
$29.99.
For the
Wait, I have to model it. Wait. Okay.
I'm not quite 20,000 customers yet, so they're print on demand.
I'll just do the catwalk walk. You give me a. Go on, give me a. $29.99. Do I have any takers? Any takers? You what?
Poor.
You're poor.
Yeah.
Yeah, artist, yeah. Alright, who's not an artist? Who's got 30 quid? No?
They can think about
There,
it.
yeah. Don't hold your breath.
thinking.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michelle Baharia.
Yeah.
Michelle Baharia. I did love the one about the earth being menopausal. I thought that was absolute. Didn't you love that? I thought that was really frigging great.
Yeah.
And I know that there's one young lady right out back, and that's what your life is going to turn into. I know, horrible. Oh, well, ladies and gentlemen, the next artist up, Jessica Lawrence.
Very good.
Okay, but I'd just like to, can you make it a little bit higher? Tiny bit higher.
Hi.
Just want to say hi to everyone and thanks for coming, and I hope you're enjoying the exhibition because I find it really inspiring. So I've decided to read my poems without any introduction in between each one because it would interfere with the flow. And they're all interrelated in some way, either by sound or image or by content. So I'll just give you kind of a brief overview about the poems before I start, and if you want to discuss any of them afterwards, feel free to ask me any questions or give me any feedback. So two of the poems focus on war. One from a personal perspective, because when I was a teenager I was living on a kibbutz at the base of the Golan Heights, and I lived through the Yom Kippur War. And one of the poems, What I Saw in the Sky, relates an incident where I was actually in the bomb shelter cleaning it, and it was meant to be as a place where wounded soldiers could be brought down and treated. But the siren went off, and being a teenager and feeling I was immortal, I went out of the bomb shelter. Everyone else was running into a bomb shelter. Wow. And watched the battle that taking place over the Galilee between jets, Phantom phantom jets and MiGs. And bullets were literally spewing around my feet. It's not something I would ever do now, but you know, when you're a teenager, you just think you're going to live forever. And the other poem, which I'm going to start with, called Mutant Silhouettes, was written about soldiers who developed mutism in the First World War due to shell shock. But you know, their so-called treatment was horrendous because probes by doctors were forced down their throat and electric shocks were delivered to their larynx, and as soon as a sound was elicited, they were deemed fit to be returned to the trenches again. So it's looking at war in two different ways. And the other poems, one called Furnace of Promises, addresses the struggle we often have between our authentic self and the pressure to conform to what society wants, or what you feel a relationship might want, or what a family might want of you. So I deal with all these things metaphorically. And when I use the first person, it doesn't mean because I individually have experienced what I'm claiming in the poem. It's just a narrative, and I'm talking in a universal way. And the other poem, called The Axe, was actually written after I read about a woman in Elmont, New York, and she was only 21. This was a couple of years ago, and she was subjected to an acid attack. And that leaves, you know, people maimed for life, and you know, having to undergo many surgical procedures, and in protracted pain their whole lives. And it is an issue, you know, that I don't think there are enough internationally measures in place to grapple with it, or preventative measures in place, and also about the sense of being menaced in general. And the last poem, it's actually called Bloodbath, but it's not about any massacres. It's actually about menstruation, and many women sometimes find themselves menstruating in the bath. You know, you see these kind of blobs of blood kind of rising to the surface. You know, and it's actually quite a lyrical poem, just about our bodies and our tissue being at one with the earth, and how the salinity of our blood and sweat is very similar to the salinity in oceans and seas, and how we all must just merge back into Mother Earth after we die. So I'll go right into the last poem, and I'll just read them all the way through. Okay, just hold on one sec. Mutant silhouettes. Mutant silhouettes of trees that grew no branches, shed no leaves, battle-weary amputees, shell-shocked soldiers, muted mutterings, voiceless men whose throats were locked inside the stocks by doctors sworn the Hippocratic oath, but instead upheld the practice of hypocrisy and chose to loathe the average man who resists killing when killing can. Last night, the night of broken glass, 7 years bad luck already past. So what is another 7 in the fray? Jacob waited 14 years for Rachel by the well. I too have had to labour so, unpick a curse to make things work and prove that obstacles can be reversed. I've never walked the level course. Uphill plodding, eyes on prize, and when the gift's unwrapped, another challenge will arise. A boulder rolling up a mountain, and when it shatters down it fountains, lands again on previous spot. Pushing boulders is my lot. Furnace of Promises. It reached out to me like a god, like a halo around a saint's head. It pleaded with me like a beggar under a bridge, holding out his bowl. I was soothed by its unctuous affirmations of peace, of its certainty, by its equanimity, its affinity for finality. I was moved, I was drawn inextricably to its flame, its blistering furnace of promises. I said, I do. I said, I will promise to cherish you. I will honour and obey, and I will follow you. I will walk into the fire like a priestess, a poetess, a countess whose head is beheaded on a block. I will put my crown down and lay my neck down. I will not object. utter one regret, nor will I weep or cry or sigh. I will not argue or remonstrate or prostrate. I will not prostrate myself in anguish or fear. I am resolute, certain, I am clear. The axe. For a small man, you have a big axe. What I mean is that you swing wider than you grasp, and you shout louder than you laugh, and your length looms taller than your height. When you stood holding up the axe, caressing the blade's edge as if feeling the curve of a woman's arse, showing off its shape, holding it high after you lifted the axe from the top of the toolbox. You smiled a Lisa Mona smile, a Nicholson Jack smirk, a poster boy for the shining, though you wore more devious than that. Your eyes, thirsting for blood, crinkle kindly like miniature ornaments of doves. Your lips, though craving a mouthful of flesh, pout like a tot, demanding more milk from the breast. You examine the axe, sliding your fingers over the edge, smile more menacing than Jack's. I ask if you intend to cut me with that, and you say, I don't know yet. When I say I can fight back, you slowly return the axe to the box, repeating again, I said, I don't know yet. Sinister how most days you hack, hack, hack. I am stone, but dissolve when you carry out your virtual acid attacks. I can't imagine how women recover after they have had battery acid thrown all over them, their skin melting like ice cream in summer, their bones exposed like mattress springs through threadbare mattress covers. I really prefer not to read with a microphone. I find it so awkward, but anyway. The next one is, as I said, what I saw in the sky. I looked up at the pock-marked sky and could see the pilot in a phantom jet. His eyes met mine for the proverbial split second in time, when he made an acrobatic leap above a pursuing MiG which spewed ammunition at my feet. I watched two bucks rut in the sky, the phantom turning on its side, and like the smash of two horned stags they clashed. Locked like wrestlers in a hold, intricately clasped, 50 feet off the ground, arm grasping arm, trying to force their opponent down. It was a day halfway through the Yom Kippur War. Syrian tanks had plunged down the hills in a vast migrating herd. A stampede of cattle rattling the ground, then the screeching alarm and men shedding hats and shirts, sprinting into uniform. I was armed with a duster, assigned the old bomb shelter to clean. I was 18 and unflustered, difficult to explain the muster of a teenage girl, the unfazed assurance as battles raged, riveting millions all over the world. But I stood with a duster in hand after the siren wailed, stepped out of the shelter to witness the battle as bullets spit like hail and the sky's blue shield splattered with metallic clatter. I watched the smoke rise as the MiG spluttered and dived and did not move from that spot until the fighting died. Vision at night. I walked with 3 men in a field of wheat in winter. The dry leaves curved like sickles, the bent back of the waning moon mossed over by clouds. The field was a pond of shadows playing tricks on the eyes, shapes of hunted animals crouched in frozen earth. The moon came out like a broken bone turned over in a bed of soil. The distant trees widened like a woman giving birth. In the opening grew 2 wheat stalks. Bloodbath. In the bath float 2 white cloths, like bodies, like 2 killed animals, my clothes soaked in blood. Float on the water, blood drifts on the water, seeping from the fabric. 2 ships sailing in the dusk, 2 ships carrying parts of my body out into the night. The fluid leaked from my womb is borne out to sea, into the salt liquid from whence it came. I see myself transported out to salty water, on a platform shouldered by simple men, and they lift my body with care as it slides into the water. And I am carried out to sea, a human with my well of sadness, and all the water that has shed from me. All the sweat and tears I let fall into the sea. I do not want to be buried at sea, but in my dream time when I have died and my spirit has entered its state of grace, I feel its silken ecstasy and I can feel its liberation from me. I can feel the innovation of the body and the elevation of the spirit. Then, when I am sleeping, my own blood floats out to the sea and I am part of the ocean, the everlasting blood flow of the earth, the blood in the veins of the earth. Thank you.
Yay! Give it up again for Jessica. I really like Silken Ecstasy. Very nice.
I'm glad you like something.
Yeah.
This time.
So you were actually there when the Yom Kippur War broke out?
I'd already been living there.
You'd already been living
Wow.
there. Wow. When I thought it was about. So it wasn't about 2 guys fighting over you.
That came later.
That came later. Where? Where was that?
Many different countries.
No, many different countries. Many different countries. Jessica, I can understand totally why 2 blokes would fight over you. So,
Compliments will get you everywhere.
Next up, we have